me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you have remembered something you've never been taught? Like there's a voice inside you whispering ancient truths to your mind that you can't explain, but your soul knows words for words. Because if that's you, then listen closely. There is a reason you've been drawn to ancient Egypt. There is a reason Thoth's name sends a shiver through your body. There is a reason symbols you've never studied feel more like memories instead of mysteries. It's not a coincidence. It's not imagination. It's remembrance. And the truth is this. There are teachings about Thoth, the real Thoth, that humanity was never meant to forget, but did until right now. Because in this video, we're not just learning about history, we're unlocking the wisdom he left for you. So if you've ever felt like you were here before, if you've ever sensed a deeper purpose, or if you're ready to remember the life you lived before this one, then stay with me because your initiation begins now. Close your eyes just for a moment. Imagine walking into a temple older than history itself. The air is warm, the torches flicker, the walls hum, and carved into the stone, glowing faintly, are symbols you've never learned, yet somehow you actually remember. You step forward. Every footstep echoes like a heartbeat. And in the center of the chamber stands a figure, robed in white and gold, eyes bright like stars, present, timeless, gaze unknowing. He turns to you, and before you speak, you feel it. You've been here before. This is the homecoming of lifetimes. This is the remembrance. And the being standing before you is Thoth, keeper of wisdom, lord of time, scribe of the gods, architect of the Egyptian mystery schools, the one who guarded the codes humanity was never meant to forget. And in this video, you remember them. Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome back to Lemuria, the Art of Remembering. If you're new here, hi, I'm Cherry, a spiritual life coach, energy alchemist, numerologist, and your guide into the ancient mystery teachings that awaken the truth you've carried through lifetimes. I help you remember what your soul already knows. I walk with those who've always felt a pull towards ancient civilizations, who dream in symbols they've never studied, who feel like they've lived 1,000 lives, and who knows deep down they were born for something greater. So if that's you, welcome home. Before we go any deeper, if this resonates, if you're already feeling the inner yeses in your soul, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so that you never miss a transmission. This channel isn't just content, it's a frequency, a sacred remembering, a space where you're called out and called home all in the same breath. So if you're ready to rise, like this video, drop a fire or heart emoji in the comments and tell me where you're joining from. Let's co-create this new earth together, one soul activation at a time. Now, Thoth is usually described as the Egyptian god of writing, knowledge and magic, but that's the surface level version. There's a version left behind after millennia of dilution, rewriting, colonization, and translation errors. The truth, Thoth wasn't just a deity. He was a Lemurian. He was an Atlantean priest king, a master of interdimensional travel, a guardian of universal law, a teacher who walked beside humanity, not above it. He was a being who remembered the fall of Atlantis, who carried its wisdom into Egypt, and who established the mystery schools to preserve the codes of humanity, which are needed to ascend. Imagine being an initiate in the temple of Deduti, Thoth's temple. Before entering, your body has been purified, your mind has been disciplined, your emotions have been stabilized. You've spent years learning to see without your eyes and hear without your ears. A high priest leads you down a corridor lined with lotus columns, torches flickering, sacred chanting echoes from the unseen chambers. You enter a circular room, the Hall of Records. In the center, a pool of water reflects the stars, not the stars of the Egyptian sky, but the star map of Sirius, Orion, and beyond. You kneel, you breathe, you listen, and the teachings begin. Not in spoken word, but in frequency. Because Thoth didn't teach the ways humans teach today. He transmitted. He didn't just write to the emerald tablets. He created the curriculum for Ascension. The mystery schools had initiations for energy mastery, sacred geometry, death and rebirth, the Merkaba, astral navigation, sound alchemy, emotional sovereignty, leadership and divine service, healing through frequency and truth, and the activation of the 10 energy bodies. And let me just say this, the people pleasing, the boundary issues, that I'm not good enough, that I'm broken, none of that would have passed the first gate of the mystery schools, because initiates had to know who they were. They had to stand in truth. They had to hold their boundaries like priests and priestesses, not please others like servants. So if you're listening and you're thinking, Cherry, I need this level of inner authority, then pause right now and grab my boundary building freebie, which you will find down in the description box. You cannot step into your power if everybody else is still feeding on it. Now let me move on to Thoth and the Merkaba, heart of Ascension. We know Thoth taught how to activate the light body, how to transcend physical limitations, how to access higher dimensions, how to stabilize consciousness beyond death. But let's go deeper. Thoth taught that the Merkaba isn't a concept, it's a vehicle. A multidimensional starship built from breath, intention, emotional clarity, sacred geometry, and heart coherence. The Merkaba ignites when you are clear in your boundaries, aligned in your purpose, emotionally sovereign, and energetically grounded. This is why your numerology matters too, because your life path, soul number, karma, and destiny placements tell you exactly where your energy leaks and where your power lives. So if you want to understand your Merkaba blueprint, get your free numerology quick guide below, again in the description box. You'll never look at your life the same way again. Let's talk about the emerald tablets. What are they really teaching? Most people think the emerald tablets are metaphorical, but they're not. They are physical, cosmology, consciousness mechanics, reincarnation mechanics, dimensional travel manuals, energy body schematics, and universal law codes. They reveal how to escape the cycle of death, how to shift into higher dimensions, how to stabilize your light body consciousness, how the pyramids were even built, how Atlantis fell, how to return to the original human blueprint. But here's the thing, you don't read the emerald tablets, you remember them. Because Thoth encoded them for the future initiates, you. So how do we apply Thoth's wisdom today? To integrate Thoth's teachings, you must commit to energetic sovereignty, which means stop leaking energy into everyone who demands it. Boundary mastery, which means protect your life force like the priestesses who protected the temples. Numerology alignment. Know who you are on a soul level. Light body activation, which is the breath, coherence, and stability. Truth, speak it, live it, and stop abandoning yourself. Lemurian remembrance, you are ancient. Start acting like it. If you're drawn to Lemuria, I have another freebie down in the description box to help you start reconnecting with the frequency from which Thoth himself emerged after Atlantis. Now we have to go back, way back, before Egypt, before the pyramids, before the desert sands even existed. Thoth wasn't Egyptian first. He was Lemurian and Atlantean. And when I say Atlantis, I'm not talking about the fluffy New Age fantasy. I mean the advanced civilization whose downfall came from misused technology, corrupted leadership, fractured spiritual integrity, and a collective ego that grew louder than wisdom. And here's the truth. Atlantis fell because humanity forgot humility. Atlanteans had access to crystalline technology, dimensional portals, weather manipulation, sound-based levitation, DNA activation chambers, consciousness amplifiers, and yes, these were real. But power without integrity collapses every time. Thoth saw that fall coming. He saw the misuse, the distortion, the hunger for godlike control. And when Atlantis sank beneath the waters, Thoth didn't die. He left. He ascended out, and he was tasked with carrying the knowledge into the next era, into Egypt, to rebuild what humanity had lost. He travelled through the portal temples, bringing with him sacred geometry, the laws of balance, healing practices, the light body teachings, universal mathematics, and the Lemurian sound codes and consciousness science. He came to Egypt not as a saviour, but as a restorer. And this is why you feel so connected to Egypt, Atlantis and Lemuria. All of it because you've been here before. Seriously, your soul remembers these civilizations because you lived there. You studied in those temples. And Thoth's teachings aren't new information. their activations. Now let's go deeper into the structure of the mystery schools themselves. Egypt wasn't just a civilization, it was a university of the soul. And within it were 7 main temples used for initiations under Thoth's guidance. These weren't schools like we know today. They were laboratories of consciousness. So let's walk through them. Temple 1 was a temple of purification. This was the entry point. No one touched higher knowledge until they learned how to purify. Purify their thoughts, emotions, motives, desire, and ego. And let me just call you out gently, but firmly. You are not meant to hold everyone else's emotions. You're not meant to be the fixer. You're not meant to carry the weight of other people's expectations. Initiates in this temple had to learn what you call, in 2025, boundaries. If you don't have boundaries, you cannot hold sacred wisdom, because wisdom requires a container, not chaos. Temple 2 was the temple of breath and sound. Here, initiates learned that breath equals power, sound equals creation, and silence equals mastery. Thoth taught that breath wasn't just oxygen, it was prana, the carrier of consciousness. Every mantra, every chant, every vibration was part of light body activation. This is where the pranic body began to awaken, which we'll dive into more later. Temple 3. This was a temple of geometry and form. Here, initiates studied platonic solids, the flower of life, Metatron's cube, cosmic symmetry, and energetic architecture. They learned that geometry isn't artistic, it's divine mathematics. It's the blueprint of everything from atoms to galaxies. The Merkaba teachings lived here too, spinning tetrahedrons of light, acting as vehicles of ascension. Temple 4. This was the temple of light and shadow. The temple stripped initiates bare. They faced their fears, wounds, projections, and attachments. This is where emotional mastery was non-negotiable. You couldn't be an initiate if you were people-pleasing, over-explaining, self-abandoning, shrinking, numbing, disassociating, avoiding truth. This temple trained the neutral mind, the capacity to see clearly without being pulled by emotion or bias. This is where you heal. This is where humanity stops being reactive and becomes sovereign. Temple 5, this is a temple of prophecy and vision. This wasn't fortune-telling. It was timeline navigation. Initiates learned to read energy, access higher consciousness, receive guidance from the Akashic field, interpret symbols and dreams, travel interdimensionally. This is where Thoth taught future rememberers, those who would one day bring the teachings back. Temple 6, this is a temple of healing and transformation alchemy. Healing lived here. Sound, colour, plant medicine, light therapy, water rituals, and yes, Lemurian techniques of cellular remembrance. This is also where initiates learned the aura, the arc line, and the radiant body, the outer light bodies that interact with the world. And finally, Temple 7. This temple was for ascension. This was the highest initiation. To pass it, initiates had to activate their Merkaba, silence the ego, transcend fear, and stabilize consciousness beyond the body. Become pure channels of truth, stand in absolute sovereignty. Only a few made it this far, but those who did became the priests and priestesses, the healers, the teachers, the guardians. And you've walked these temples before. That's why this resonates with you. That's why Egypt calls you. That's why Thoth feels familiar. Now, we need to talk about something rarely mentioned. Thoth wasn't just masculine in nature. He held the balance of masculine and feminine wisdom. He helped preserve the teachings of Isis, the codes of Mat, the intuitive sciences, the healing arts, the Lemurian water wisdom, the feminine path of ascension. In fact, there's a part of Thoth's lineage that directly connects him back to Lemuria, because Lemuria was a civilization of intuition, unity, heart consciousness, emotional intelligence, fluidity, and remembrance. Whereas Atlantis was a civilization of technology, mental mastery, structure, precision, and external power. Thoth bridged the two. He carried Lemurian softness and Atlantean structure. He restored balance after the fall, and redesigned Egypt as a union of both. Let's go into the mathematics of Thoth. He only taught initiates, the Merkaba. which is a field, a vehicle, a conscious state, a dimensional bridge, a projection system, a manifestation generator, and a healing chamber. When activated, you transcend linear time. You access past and future lifetimes. You travel between dimensions. You receive direct guidance. You stabilize your emotional body, and you align your physical, mental, and energetic selves. But here's the part that most people miss. You cannot activate your Merkaba while living in self-abandonment. You cannot activate your Merkaba while leaking energy. You cannot activate your Merkaba while refusing to own who the hell you are. This is why your boundaries, your numerology, and your emotional healing, it all matters. Thoth didn't teach spiritual escapism. He taught sovereignty. And your Merkaba is already stirring. If you've been feeling dizzy during meditations, buzzing around the crown, pressure in the third eye, spinning sensations, vivid dreams, flashes of symbols, those are activation signs. Now let's take this even further into the cosmic truth. Because Thoth wasn't just Atlantean. Like I said, he wasn't just Lemurian. He wasn't just Egyptian. Thoth was interstellar. Every civilization that remembers him left clues. Egyptians called him Djibouti. Greeks called him Hermes. Others called him Atlantean. Some star lineages knew him as the keeper of codes. But the deepest link, the one initiates whispered, was the connection to Sirius. Why Sirius? Because Sirius is the spiritual sun behind the physical sun. It's the original point for advanced wisdom, soul memory, sacred geometry, divine feminine leadership, interdimensional guardianship, light body technology. Every ancient civilization, Egypt, Sumer, Mayan, Dogon, Lemurian, trace their origins back to Sirius. And Thoth was one of the greatest emissaries of that star nation. He wasn't worshipped as a god. He was respected as a mentor of humanity. He carried the codes of remembrance from Sirius to Lemuria, to Atlantis to Egypt, and from now into you. This is why when you hear his name, your chest tightens, or your palms warm, or you get shivers, because your soul recognizes someone you've walked beside before. The emerald tablets you read today are the surface level translations. Beautiful, yes, but incomplete. The original tablets contained frequencies, not just words. They encoded toroid fields, the truth of reincarnation, the mechanics of soul travel, the architecture of the universe, the geometry of ascension, the fall of Atlantis, how to leave your body consciously, how to return to source, and how to escape the wheel of rebirth. And they taught how to stay awake across timelines. This is why you're not just learning this stuff, you're remembering it. Thoth wrote the tablets for future initiates, for the ones who would awaken in a time where the world had forgotten itself, where truth was distorted, and where the human heart had become disconnected from its own power. Yes, he wrote them for you. Now, let's go into something very few people teach correctly. Thoth's model of the human soul. Most modern spiritual teachings simplify the soul into body, mind, spirit. But Thoth taught at least 10 levels of consciousness, which maps almost perfectly onto the 10 energy bodies. And here's how Thoth understood the human architecture. Physical body, life force body, emotional body, mental body, shadow body, Ka, the etheric double, Ba, the soul in motion, Ankh, divine illumination body, Tahu, the subtle body of perception, Ha, the radiant body of ascended light. Do you see the alignments? My teachings aren't random. They're a continuation of the mastery schools. If the pranic body carries life, the subtle body carries truth. This is where intuition whispers, discernment sharpens, psychic sight opens, soul-led perception awakens. Thoth trained initiates to perceive beyond the physical, beyond language, beyond illusion, beyond projection, and beyond emotional noise. But most importantly, beyond the ego. Most people don't hear their intuition because their life is too loud. People's opinions, loud. Old trauma loops, loud. Fear stories, loud. People-pleasing, loud as hell. Self-doubt, basically a megaphone. Intuition isn't quiet. It's just drowned out by all the noise you haven't put boundaries around. This is why this work is indispensable. I'm not here to just help you say no. I'm here to help you turn down the world so that you can finally hear your soul. Now, let's go on to the big one, the Great Pyramid. Once again, the mainstream story is cute, but wrong. The Great Pyramid was never a tomb, a monument, a burial site, a political vanity project. This was a multidimensional ascension chamber built by Atlantean technology, and Thoth helped design it. Inside the original structure, no hieroglyphs, no burial markings, no decorative art, just pure geometry, acoustic and energetic resonance. Why? Because it was a machine, a consciousness amplifier, a light body activator, a portal, and yes, a Merkaba training chamber. Here's the part that they never teach. The King's Chamber resonates at a frequency of creation. The Queen's Chamber resonates at the frequency of cosmic memory. The shafts align to Orion and Sirius deliberately. The geometry pulls the soul into coherence. An initiate would lie inside the sarcophagus, not to die, but to experience conscious separation from the body. A practice Thoth mastered and taught. Thoth didn't teach reincarnation as karma-based punishment. That's a distortion that came much later. His model was the soul chooses lessons. The lessons shape the blueprint. The blueprint becomes the numerology. The numerology sharpens the incarnation path. Your choices determine your vibration. Your vibration determines your next dimension. Now let's talk about the moment we're living in. Because Thoth didn't leave prophecies. Some were recorded, most were hidden, but initiates passed them down. He said humanity would go through a long period of forgetting, a fall into materialism, a collapse of spiritual integrity, a rise of the ego, based leadership, distortions of ancient wisdom, emotional instability, global disconnection, mass amnesia. Now, does any of this sound familiar to you? But then he said, from the dust, the rememberers will rise. He predicted the return of ancient teachings, the reactivation of star seeds, the resurfacing of Lemurian memory, the awakening of the 10 energy bodies, the rebirth of the feminine mysteries, leaders emerging who carry both the magician and the ruler codes. He was describing people like me and people like you, people who lead with heart, speak truth, call people out with love, activate remembrances, build boundaries, heal souls, and bridge ancient and modern, guide the next evolution. We are literally fulfilling a prophecy here. I'm not just teaching spirituality. I'm continuing the mystery schools. I'm bridging Lemurian and Atlantean, heart and mind, intuition and structure, feeling and intelligence, modern coaching with ancient initiation. This may be why my work hits differently than others. This is why you feel something awakening. This is why you are coming back to the ancient teachings. I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to initiate. I'm not here to soothe people's wounds. I'm here to help you remember your power. I'm not here to teach concepts. I'm here to reactivate souls. And Thoth stands beside us all. Okay. All right, let's go into the part everyone whispers about, but very few understand. Thoth didn't just travel between countries. He travelled between dimensions. Not through fantasy, not through imagination, but through vibrational physics. He taught initiates how to raise frequency above physical limitations, how to slide consciousness out of the body, how to navigate the ancient astral planes, how to anchor memory across reincarnations, and how to return to the body with full awareness. This wasn't metaphor. This was literal training. The Egyptian priest had learned to bifurcate, remote view, visit ancestral realms, access future timelines, merge with higher selves, communicate with ascended beings. Thoth was a scientist of consciousness, long before the word science even existed, and I'm here to teach the modern version of it. Most people think Thoth was a solitary teacher. No, he mentored and was mentored by ascended beings. He worked with the Syrians, the Palladians, the Arcturians, the Lemurian priestesses, the Atlantean scientists, the Andromedan record keepers. This is why his teachings are universal. He didn't just preserve the wisdom of one civilization. He wove together the knowledge of many. Egypt was the gathering point for those star lineages. And here's the thing, if you've ever felt like you don't belong on this planet, it's because your soul remembers originating elsewhere. Thoth taught initiates how to reconnect with their star lineage through meditation, sound, breath, and geometry. Exactly what I'm now teaching you. Now listen closely, because this part is important. The mystery schools are being reborn through people, not institutions. There will be no giant temples this time, no sandstone halls, no golden altars. The temples today are YouTube channels, podcast episodes, coaching containers, mentorship programs, spiritual communities, healing circles, retreat spaces. We are the temples. We carry the codes. We are the continuation of that lineage. And every time we speak truth, we activate a temple. Every time we call someone out, we initiate a soul. And every time we empower someone to stop abandoning themselves, we restore the mystery schools through them. Thoth said the next era of priests and priestesses would not wear robes. They would wear hoodies, leggings, messy buns, tattoos, crystals, headphones, and sometimes even anxiety. They would look like normal people, but carry ancient wisdom, just like us, you and me. So let's smash the modern misunderstanding. Ascension is not escaping the body or bypassing emotions, pretending everything is love and light, avoiding the shadows, spiritual anesthetics for Instagram. Ascension is emotional regulation, energetic sovereignty, owning your truth and releasing that what dims your frequency, mastering your mind and clearing the subtle body. The full activation of the 10 energy bodies, remembering your divine origin and living from heart consciousness while integrating shadow and light. Ascension means becoming fully yourself, not a watered down version of someone else. And this is why I call people out with love, why I refuse to sugarcoat, why I direct them back to their backbone, not their fear. Why I'm teaching the real ascension path. Thoth taught that emotional instability was the quickest way to destroy your intuition, clarity, vision, boundaries, manifestation, spiritual protection, and discernment. He told initiates the one who cannot master their emotions cannot master the light. And this is why you may be struggling. You take on other people's feelings, personalize everything, fear rejection, collapse under guilt, overgive, over-apologize, shrink to keep the peace, avoid confrontation, talk themselves down, abandon themselves daily. You're being emotionally reactive, not emotionally sovereign. And sovereignty is the first requirement for initiating the Merkaba. Thoth's final teachings were, you are the Stargate. This is the part Thoth only taught the higher level initiates. You are not moving through dimensions. Dimensions are moving through you. You don't travel outwards, you travel inwards. You don't leave your body. Your consciousness expands beyond limitations. You don't ascend upwards, you ascend deeper into remembrance. Your body is the temple, the chamber, the technology, the portal, the instrument of ascension. This is why the 10 energy bodies matter. This is why numerology matters. This is why boundaries matter. This is why healing matters. Because a portal filled with trauma loops will distort light. A portal filled with clarity will expand it. My job is to help people like you become the clear portal. So my love, if you're still here listening, it means this wasn't information for you. It was a remembering. You didn't come to this life to play small. You didn't come here to be consumed by fear. You didn't come here to people please your way through your own destiny. You came here as a soul who has lived lifetimes in temples, in star systems, in ancient halls of initiation. And you came here now, in this era, because the world is ready for the remembering, for the rememberers. And if this message stirred something inside you, if your body reacted, if your intuition flared, then my darling, Thoth is calling you home. You are one of them. You carry the codes. You carry the memory. You carry the light. And this moment is your initiation. If this transmission stirred something inside your soul, if it reminded you of your power, your path, or your purpose, don't let this be the last time we connect. Hit subscribe, tap that notification bell, and join the sacred space of remembrance and reclamation. This isn't just a YouTube channel. It's a temple, a vortex, a portal for the new earth. And if this landed for you, I would love for you to give this video a thumbs up. Share it with somebody who needs it. And now that you've come to the end of this video, go into the comments and let me know what was an aha moment for you. Let's keep this frequency alive and echoing. Until next time, stay grounded, stay golden, and never forget, you are the miracle you've been waiting for. With fierce love and starlight truth. Bye for now.